Okay everyone, welcome back to another video on the channel. Today we're back on GT Sport and we're back with a daily race C in the new wet layout at Tokyo, driving the Group 3 cars. Now in this race we've got Derek behind me starting at the back of the grid, and IOF Racing, otherwise known as Igor Fraga, directly in front of me. One of the world's fastest drivers on Gran Turismo Sport, an absolute talent. There has been controversy in the past, but I think it's time to move on from that. But this race, absolute brilliant, really respectful drive, and I think you're going to enjoy it. Make sure you watch this all the way through because some absolutely brilliant driving on show in this race between myself and Igor Fraga. Really respectful driving. So let's start this race, starting on P13, Igor Fraga in P12. We're going to try and go straight into the slipstream. Igor is driving the McLaren very fast down the straights, but not quite as strong through the corners as the Ford GT. I think the Ford GT is actually a better car for this combination than the McLaren, although the McLaren gives you a lot of overtaking opportunities. As you can see already, that speed of that McLaren is actually putting him past P11. Now the Ford doesn't have that ability to get straight up the slipstream like that, but Igor's going to have a go into turn one. I'm too far back to really try and follow him through, but I'm going to stay on the inside. You never know what's going to happen. It's probably safer to be on the right hand side, let the people that run wide stay on that left hand side and go up the inside. And I managed to take that position there and follow Igor through. I'm up to P12. He manages to go around the outside there of P11. I'm going to try and follow him, get into his slipstream and see if we can outdrag that Ford GT on our right hand side. So some great racing straight away, quite clean at the start there for a daily race, considering some of these drivers in these lobbies were not the highest rank. It was quite early on in the day. As I get the slipstream, go up the inside of Igor Fraga, and I actually run a little bit wide there, squeeze him up against the wall, and I felt like that was a bit aggressive. So through here, when he comes back through, we had to lift out a little bit there because the P9 was lagging all over the show. I decided to let Igor back through. You'll see me lift off the throttle here. I let him go up the inside. It was a bit risky the way I pushed him up against the wall. It was just an understeer, it wasn't deliberate. So we let Igor Fraga back through there and took him behind his slipstream and just trying to follow him through now as we go through in a massive moment of oversteer through that corner there, nearly catching me out there. And you should see, this is the difficult part now with all the spray when you're driving on the view I use. There's two people have a penalty, and I decided to go round the outside of this long left hand corner, and there is one very strong tip for that corner. There is a lot of grip on that outside line when in the wet conditions for some reason. In normal dry conditions that is not a line you can take, but in the wet you can actually make a move there, as I managed to make that move. And now up to P8, directly behind Igor Fraga. We're going to get some slipstreams here in front of us. You can see two cars run very wide there. Igor tries to go up the inside. He's now going to get the draft from that Ford GT. He's not got the speed to go around the right hand side. He's going to have to back out of that. It looks like that Ford cut that angle off, and now he's in the slipstream of P6. I'm in P8, directly behind Igor. We're going to try and pick up the slipstream. Am I going to be able to get the draft from that Ford in front? It looks like Igor is going to be able to just sail past the Ford GT with the extra speed that McLaren has. So I'm going to now try and see if I can get past, but now the Ford GT is in Igor Fraga's slipstream. You can see that my Ford just can't cope with that. Obviously that is how strong the slipstream is on this game. There's not much you can do once another car gets back into the toe of another car. But I'm going to have a go and see if we can find a way past into turn one. You can see, getting back in that slipstream, having a look up the inside, spray everywhere. It's so hard to see in these conditions as we go into turn one. Taking a very tight line through there, hoping that P7 is going to run wide and struggle to get on the power, but not able to make that move done. So now we've got a car in between myself and Igor Fraga. This is not what I wanted, as we see on the replay camera. This is where the risk is that he could pull away and get through this traffic. These slower cars a little bit faster than what I can. Obviously he's a very aggressive driver anyway, so a very aggressive but normally quite clean. We obviously had that incident like I said in the World Tour event, but like I say, I think that is gone now. I think he's learned from that, and I think we're going to see a lot cleaner driving in future events. I don't think we'll see another incident like that from Igor Fraga as we go through the middle sector now, trying to follow behind the orange Ford GT. This is very hard in the wet conditions to actually follow closely to other cars, and this was obviously one of the early races in the day. Not much practice. I did improve my pace obviously towards the end of the night. I think we did a race last night on the stream, but my race pace was really strong. We were doing very good lap times all the way through the race, but that was obviously after a lot of practice. In this, we're quite early in practice, trying to get cope of the grip levels, trying to find where moves are possible as we go now down into that final hairpin. You can see Igor up into P6, having a look to make a position up into P5. So I've got to try and get this position done as we go into the braking zone. P7 outbrakes himself, hits Igor, and then his car stopped dead in front of me, and I ended up tapping him, but that was because he hit Igor in the braking zone, which slowed him down suddenly. But I take advantage of that. Obviously, wasn't my problem. It was P6, I think, sorry, the 4GT, I think it was in P6 or 7, just ran completely wide, missed his braking zone, tapped Igor in the back. That then slowed him down, which meant I'm going to go to the rear, because the way the physics are in this game, when a car hits another car, they literally stop dead. But now on the main straight in P6, getting the slipstream from that Mercedes, tucking over to the right hand side. Igor is now going to probably just go straight past me on pure speed off that McLaren. He doesn't need my slipstream. You can see, look at that McLaren go, unbelievable straight line speed. And now we've got the Mercedes looking for the slipstream of Igor. This is going to be nearly 3 wide, or 3 cars all battling into turn 1. How is this going to pan out? I'm going to go to the left hand side to try and hang it around the outside. The Mercedes has gone on the inside. I expected him to brake very late and maybe outbrake himself. He kind of does. I take the inside line. The Mercedes struggling for traction, nearly lost the rear, and actually I ended up saving him from losing control of his car there as I go up the inside and get that position, and now following Igor through in this absolutely brilliant race. Great racing from start to finish so far, and now we're going to try and follow Igor through for the next car and make sure we stay with him in that valuable slipstream. And I have to say, while watching these replay cameras, the game does look absolutely amazing in this Tokyo layout in full wet conditions. There is quite a lot of grip, though, I will say, for wet conditions at this track. I don't think it's as difficult as the Red Bull Ring. I think I don't know if it's the way the course is, but there's a lot of traction in certain areas of the track. The final corner is quite difficult, but the fast flowing corners actually provide a good level of grip, considering you're able to take quite a lot of speed through these corners that you see, even in the slipstream, getting that dirty air. And we're still carrying quite good speed through there, as now Igor is looking to get himself up into P4. You can see he's all over the rear of that 4GT. I'm just going to follow through here, hopefully get a good exit. Both of us there trying to get on the power quite early, the rear stepping out and just about saving that, and now into the braking zone. Is he going to go for a move on the inside? It looks like he is going to go up the inside there, but it looks like he's going to outbrake himself maybe. Is he gone a bit deep into that corner? The 4GT tries to take a tight line. I follow that 4GT through. They're going to go side by side now in this very tricky zone. This is where the car gets a little bit sketchy on the power, and it looks like Igor there cleverly backs out the throttle to tuck back into the slipstream of P4 so that he's going to get that extra boost in speed. I'm going to stay in Igor Fraga's slipstream. You're going to see what I do now is give him a gentle little tap here, because if I try and pull out of that McLaren, it's not going to work. I'm going to just instantly just get overtaken straight away. So I stay in the slipstream so that he goes past that 4GT, and then I can stay in the slipstream and tuck in. But now Igor straight away over to the left hand side tries to stop myself getting that slipstream. I'm going to tuck straight back in behind him, and then he's going to go to the right hand side to take the inside line to try and defend against myself. I'm going to swing the car over to the left hand side, see if we can go all the way over to the left. You see Igor then getting his car into the middle of the track to give himself a better exit entry into this corner, and then obviously a better exit from the corner as we now onto the power. You see the rear of the car wants to step out on that McLaren. Same with the Ford. We've got to be so patient on the throttle as we go up into third gear. Good traction out of that corner, and now we're right behind Igor Fraga. Look how close this is in wet conditions, driving through one of the fastest sections on Tokyo in terms of cornering speed. This is extremely difficult now when you're this close to a car. You've got the spray in your face, you can't really see much. You're going into the braking zone, down into third gear, trying to hit the apex is very hard to do that when you're following a car. And the rear wanting to step out, a little tap of the wall there, losing quite a valuable few attempts, but luckily managed to keep the car on the track. And now we're just trying to regroup a bit. Now once you hit the wall, I find that in a track like Tokyo, you make a little mistake, you hit the wall, it takes a lap or so just to get yourself back into the rhythm. Obviously you want to be in it's a very flowing track where you've got to be flowing from limit to limit on the walls and just skimming them. But as soon as you hit one, it kind of knocks you off for a few corners, and then you've got to regroup. But luckily for myself there, going through that really fast left hand corner there, managed to get a good exit, and we're not going to lose the slipstream as we go into the final corner. As you can see now, the lap times have not been particularly great so far. Obviously, as Igor there goes very wide into that final corner, he did seem to be struggling, possibly because of the speed that the McLaren takes into that corner. I take a very tight line there, and that gives me the ability to get right into the slipstream now as we go down the main straight. And as I was saying, yeah, the lap times have not been particularly amazing at the moment, just 2:13s. That's partially because obviously we've been driving through traffic in dirty air as well through the middle sector. You find that normally we'll get this one car, will get the slipstream down the straight, gain a bit, but then they get obviously a bit of dirty air through the middle sector when they catch another car up. So It's been quite difficult at the moment, as I'm going to get a massive draft from that McLaren. We're going to go to the right hand side of the track, and what you're going to see here now is just how fast this McLaren is. Even though I had that extra speed, it's now going to be a drag race into turn 1, side by side. Have we got the speed to manage to hold that inside line? It looks like the Ford has just got just enough grunt to hold that line, as Igor tries to hold it around the outside, braking as late as possible into turn 1, and just about hold that line to put myself ahead of Igor Fraga. Nearly losing control of the car, lost the rear, tagged into Igor Fraga there, and both of us nearly out of control, but just about managing to hold on to the car in this amazing battle at Tokyo Wet, as we now go through that middle sector again, where it's really important that you don't want to be too close to another car. We've got Igor Fraga right behind me, that Ford GT obviously hanging on to the slipstream from being, obviously close to us down the main straight. You gain such an advantage when you're in that draft zone. The game really does drag you on with how strong the slipstream is, as we go sideways through that corner, nearly losing control of the car again, but just about managing to keep it on the track. And now into this really fast right hand corner in 4th gear, on the throttle, back on the throttle as early as possible to carry speed, then braking, and you want to kind of chuck it in and get very close to the white line, then on the throttle again as early as you can, clipping the apex of that corner, and now trying to bite it in very early to this apex in 3rd gear, and now just looking to get a nice solid exit from this left hand corner. You see the car almost drifting its way through that left hand corner. We can see P3 right in front of me. Now this is really important. If I can get into the slipstream of P3, I might be able to defend down the main straight to Igor. This is going to be vital. Can I gain half a second on this final corner, trying to get very close to the apex to get as close to that slipstream as possible? You can see that delta coming down. Is it going to go below 1.5 seconds? 1.5 seconds is the slipstream range. We're gaining, goes to just pretty much dead on 1.5 seconds, and we're not close enough. It's just stopped short of it, and you can see, unfortunately, I tried to rev it out to get myself into that slipstream, but unfortunately it didn't get within that vital 1.5 second range. Literally not even a tenth away from it, and that's going to be frustrating, because now down the straight I do not have that extra speed to defend against Igor, and you can see that McLaren with the slipstream absolutely flies past with the extra speed. That car is unstoppable in the slipstream, so not much I can do other than tuck back into P5 and get in the slipstream of Igor Fraga, who is going to be looking to get himself up into P3 now in this race. As we go into the braking zone, you can see into the slipstream that Ford. Now I braked extremely late, and Igor Fraga saw that mistake coming, left space there. I decided to back off, tuck back into the slipstream. No point taking the move there. It was a mistake by myself. I didn't want to get myself up into P4 by an error. Luckily IOF obviously saw it, so I backed out and then tucked back into the slipstream and try and make a fair move past him now. So following in the slipstream, you can see now IOF is going to have the dirty air from P3. We've got the double dirty air through these corners, and now P3 is looking very vulnerable. He looks like he's going to be under attack from IOF very soon. He looks like he's struggling there, as IOF gets a massive moment of oversteer, but manages to turn that into an overtake. I'm going to have to follow. P4 looks like he's struggling. I'm going to look to go around the left hand side here. Can I get on the power nice and early? We're up on the inside, down to 3rd gear, try and bite it into the apex. P4 tried to turn in there, but there was no way I was letting him through there. I'm taking that position. I need to stay in the slipstream of IOF Racing. We need that toe down the straight, or that McLaren will be completely gone. So now through this left hand corner, I'm going to have to make sure I get a really good solid exit. You can see working that throttle at about 60% throttle. Nice solid exit there, and actually gain back up on IOF. So now in the slipstream, so we're going to have the toe down the main straight. Just got to make sure we brake nice and early here. Don't brake too late. We don't want to over brake and miss the opportunity of getting the toe, as P5 there completely misses his brakes, and that is the risk. If you miss your brake, you've lost the slipstream down this straight. Now as you can see, he's not got a chance down the straight without a slipstream, as I'm just about in the toe to P3, and we're going to try and see if we can drag our Ford GT all the way down the straight and get that extra straight line speed from the slipstream and make a move into turn 1. You're going to see the advantage that this slipstream gives you now, going over the start finish line at over 170 miles per hour. That shows you just what sort of an advantage this you get from obviously being in the toe. So now, am I going to be able to make a move into turn 1? Let's see. Getting the slipstream now, I'm going to have to try and do something different possibly, because that McLaren is so fast once I pull out the slipstream. We're going to fake it to the left, then tuck back under on the right hand side, tricking him a little bit. I don't know if he expected that. I got the inside line now into the corner, braking as late as possible, extremely late braking with how much speed I was carrying there, and managed to slow the car down really well and take good speed all the way through the corner, and actually found traction as well. on the exit and then trying to chuck it into this right hand corner on the throttle as early as possible in third gear. We're now going to start obviously the penultimate lap, and we've got clean air as well with that massive boost of speed down the main straight as we go through the middle sector. It's going to be so important to try and see if I can get into P2 slipstream. That is going to be vital. Otherwise, if Igor just stays in our toe, he's going to get that slipstream down the main straight on lap 8 as we go through the tunnel section there on the middle, on the really fast flowing chicane, managing to take good speed through there, and now into this really fast right hand corner. Can we throw it in fourth gear and carry another good amount of speed all the way through there, carrying reasonable speed there, doing that fairly well, and now into this left hand corner, trying to get that left hand tyre basically to touch the white line on the throttle so early. You saw the car twitching and managed to do that near perfect. Into this right hand corner, can we nail this? We're trying to get as close to P2 as possible to pick up his toe, but P2 looks like he's got reasonable speed. We are gaining on him, gaining a few tenths on pretty much every corner as we now go into the final corner. 2.5 seconds behind, that's too much to ask. This looks like Igor is in the perfect opportunity in that McLaren to just go flying back past down the main straight as I go tucking into the apex as much as possible. The car in front is in the Lamborghini. That car is going to be a bit slower on outright speed once we hit 6th gear. However, on acceleration that car should be fairly solid as I have a little moment there, but managed to find the traction as we go purple on that sector. This has been probably the first lap which has been fairly okay on the middle sector as we go down the main straight. Going to have to go defensive now onto the right hand side, and you see now not much I can do. I've got no toe, and now watch the speed that McLaren is just going to go completely flying past me. I am not going to be able to defend from the outright pace of the McLaren GTR down the straight, especially when it's got a slipstream. And what I've got to try and do now is tuck back into the slipstream and see if we can draft into turn 1 and maybe have a look at going around the outside or something. But just looking at how fast that is, it's just not going to be possible. Look at the speed of that McLaren into turn 1. Going to have to brake early here. We don't want to hit IOF Racing up the rear, obviously into turn 1 and wipe him out as I turn in a bit too early. I tried to get on the throttle, expecting the car not to turn in. I expected to get understeer there and tapped into the wall, so not what you want to do, but still in that slipstream as we now start the final lap as IOF chases P2. I'm chasing Igor Fraga. This is an absolutely brilliant race. Thoroughly enjoyed it from start to finish. Great racing, clean racing, especially in these conditions as well. The lap times have not been brilliant. I mean, comparing it to a race that I did last night when we didn't have any slipstream, we were doing 2:12 zeros and 1s and 2s and 3s pretty much throughout the whole race, and that was with no slipstream at all. But in this race we've had a lot of battling. It was earlier on in the day, not as much practice, but still absolutely brilliant show of racecraft as well from IOF and myself on some corners as well, some laps as well, where we managed to get ourselves just ahead. This has been really entertaining all the way from the start to finish, and it's great to be able to race against one of the fastest drivers in the world. I do feel quite confident in wet conditions, especially in this Ford GT. It feels like it's got so much traction in the wet, even more so than the Porsche. I would say it's got more traction in wet conditions than the Porsche in my experience, and I thought that when we were driving the Red Bull Ring. I did notice out of turn 2, I think it was, or technically turn 3, that the Ford was just able to gain so much traction. As now I'm in the slipstream. I don't think that IOF Racing has got the slipstream to P2. Maybe he's just about in it there, but he might lose it. It looks like he didn't get the best exit. You can see myself fighting for traction, trying to get on the power as early as possible to work our way down the main straight and see if we can tow ourselves up into P3, but it looks like it's not going to be possible, and the McLaren just has too much outright speed as we go towards the finishing line. IOF Igor Fraga is going to finish P3, myself in P4. A great race all the way to the very end, and we pushed that as hard as possible. You can see the finishing time, considering we started from the back of the grid, basically on 18 minutes flat, near enough 18.1. Great finishing time from starting from the back of the grid, but again it shows you the difference between starting from the front to the back. I think last night's race, when we started at the front, we finished in 17:40 something, 47 or 48. So that shows you obviously the time lost in terms of fighting your way through the field. But a really enjoyable race. I hope you enjoyed that. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Click that notification button so you don't miss any future videos. We will be uploading more videos throughout the week and streaming as much as possible. Thanks again for watching, everyone.